Hello everybody, Matthew Armstrong here on day 42 of our 90-day financial freedom, life transformation challenge from mediocrity to mastery, and we are on our financial freedom section of this series, which is awesome. You know, it's something that everybody needs to get this, right? Everyone needs to get this. It's interesting. I quite often refer back to the whole law of attraction, secret, and things like that, because that's where it was like the missing link that we find in this book that we're reading. We're reading from the book The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini, and on the back it says, "For fans of the secret." I think he puts that in there because over 200 million copies of the DVD The Secret was sold. That's a lot of people are aware of that whole thing, you know, that whole paradigm, right? And many millions of books. I think at least 20 million of those books were sold. So a lot of people are aware of the whole secret, ask, believe, receive sort of thing, you know. But then it didn't work for a lot of people, right? It didn't work for a lot of people. A lot of people, well, you know, I've asked for this. I really feel like I believe I can have it. But how come I'm not receiving it, right? And then you say, well, just visualize with more focus, or I don't know, get clearer on it or whatever. But you have to get real about it, right? You have to get real, and you know, that's what Dr. Demartini does in his book. Is he gets real about everything. He gets scientific. You know, looking at the brain and how the brain works, and linking our goals with our values, and you know, really think about human behavior, not just about a pie in the sky, you know, universal law that still people argue about, you know, how factual it is or how real it is, whatever. But you know, really looking at, you know, human behavior, how we operate, and really looking at how people create success in the world. And one of the things is well, at some stage you're going to work your ass off, you know. You know, if you're starting up a business or something, for a while you have to work your ass off, and that's just the bottom line. You know, you have to do something you haven't done before. You have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to take risks. That's another thing. You know, fortune favors the bold, but you got to take some risks, right? If you're not taking risks, you're just going to stay in mediocrity, right? Because mediocrity is not taking risks. That's what mediocrity is. It's not taking risks. It's not making decisions. It's not making decisions that involve risk, right? If you look at a person's decisions throughout the day, someone who is leading a mediocre life, someone who's leading a masterful life, creating their life as a masterpiece, you'll see the difference in their decisions from morning to night, right? And it's our decisions, an accumulation of our decisions, that creates our destiny. You know, so when would it not be a good time to make a new decision on your life? Make a new decision on your destiny. The thing you've been procrastinating on is to just do it, right? Because this is a lot of people think that, well, I'm just waiting for the right time. You know, I'm waiting for everything just to be right so that I can make this decision and get going on this, whether it's a business or a new career path or whatever it is. But I'm just waiting till, you know, all the pieces are in place before I move on it. And what they don't realize is that virtually never happens. That virtually never happens. You know, you got to move, and then the pieces start to come into place as you move forward. You have to make a decision to do it, and after you make a decision to do it, then the way unfolds. The pieces come into your path. The resources come to you. It's not saying, okay, once I have all the resources, then I'll make a decision to move. Right? No, you move, and then the resources present themselves. The universe aligns to your vision. Right? So, you know, this is something that all the great achievers know, but most people don't know. Is people think that, oh well, obviously they had all the resources. They everything was just in place for them to make those great achievements, whatever they were. No, they're no different to any of us. The people who've made the greatest achievements in the world are no different to any of us. They've just made different decisions, right? And even when it didn't look like they could, things were going to work out, they made a decision anyway and just did it. Even when they didn't have the resources, they made a decision anyway and just did it, right? So that's what often you got to do. You got to make decisions, even when you can't see a clear path, even when, and you know, this is faith, right? This is what faith is, you know. Whether you're a religious person, a non-religious person, an atheist, doesn't matter. You know, faith works the same for everybody. It's having faith that, okay, I'm going to move forward, and what I need is just going to show up for me. And having some faith in that and some certainty that that will happen, right? And the more certainty you have, the more chance of it happening will happen, right? The more certainty you have, the more faith you have. So don't wait for all the lights to go green in the city before you decide to drive through it, because it's never going to happen. You know, you'll be at a red light, it will go green, you'll drive, another red light will come on, you'll have to stop there, then you'll see a diversion, the traffic will diversion, you'll have to drive around a different way you didn't think you were going to have to drive around. And then you're going to be pulled over by a cop for pulling an illegal maneuver because it's your first time driving through the city and you didn't realize you weren't allowed to drive on the left-hand side or something. You drove through a white line, drove over a white line or something, you get pulled over. Then you get pulled over and you get a bit of a setback, you get slowed down, you get a ticket, whatever. But then you get going again, right? And you get going, you keep going, then you hit a traffic jam, you sit in the traffic for a while. And then you find a shortcut, and that's great, and then you fly down that shortcut, and then you have another few good things happen. Then it's like 3 green lights in a row. You're like, whoa, I just went through 3 green lights in a row, that's great. Then you hit another red light. There's like 3 red lights in a row, but eventually you get through the city. And that's life, right? Once you get through, you're like, okay, success. But wasn't that an interesting drive I just had? Yeah? So let's read our book, right? The mindset that, you know, realize that it's not just going to be really easy, right? Realize that you're going to have to grind for a while with whatever you want to do in life, you know? It's not like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to build an amazing physique, and then you go to the gym and 6 months later you're like, well, I haven't really changed that much. But the 6 months after that, because you built up some strength and some, got your form right, things will start to happen, you know? Same for business. First 6 months, you grind, then something starts to happen, right? So, page 256 of our book. Remember, you can go to drdemartini.com and get your book there. Getting Real. A lot of people in the fantasy world when it comes to wealth building, but I prefer that you have the option of breaking free of that. I would love for you to become grounded enough to realize that if you don't raise the 6 steps to wealth building, of management, if you don't bring order to your financial structure and habits, and if you don't own the traits of the wealthy, you're probably going to live in a delusion about your financial future. You're going to be like the woman I once met who told me that she had seen The Secret and then said to me, Dr. Demartini, every day I go out to the mailbox with a clear intention that $1 million check will be there for me, but somehow it never is. What am I doing wrong? Well, of course, that is a total misunderstanding of what is stated in The Secret and what I'm saying in this book. No one manifests great wealth solely by thinking about it. You'll require a clear and inspiring goal of creating and building wealth that aligns with your highest values and that serves a vast number of other people's highest values. Then you will need to implement clear, sound savings and investment strategies and make effective business and financial decisions that are actually going to help you make a difference in the world so that you can build your fortune. So let me ask you what I ask in some of my seminars. What would you do if you had $10 million unexpectedly handed to you right now? Take a moment right now and list the first 10 things you would do. Now look at your list and answer this question for me. After you've taken those first 10 actions, how much of the 10 million is left? This is a great exercise, by the way, so take note of the exercise and complete it after this training. So what did you write down? Did you plan to buy a house, send your children through college, take a great vacation, give fabulous presents to yourself and your loved ones, buy a new car, or take a long-awaited luxury vacation? If you're like most of my general audience attendees, you will realize that what you did with your 10 million is spend that money. Even if you bought a house, you haven't really made an investment, because generally real estate depreciates and costs as much as it appreciates, unless it's used as a rental property or bought with the explicit intention of being improved or flipped for resale. If you plan on living in a house, buying it is usually a break-even deal at best. And if you spend the money on college tuition, travel, or gifts from the point of view of wealth building, you've basically just potentially diminished your net worth, unless you explicitly intended those expenditures as investments in a particular career or business that you plan to build. Otherwise, you are behaving as a consumer, not an investor. You're spending wealth, not building wealth. This is the exact opposite of what a financial master would do. A financial master's first thought would be to invest that 10 million to produce passive income that he or she doesn't have to work for. Financial masters would invest in appreciables, items whose value can reasonably be expected to increase, not disperse the money into depreciables or consumables, items whose value can be expected to decline or even evaporate. Investing in appreciables is how you would build true financial freedom for yourself and your family, and how you eventually go on to leave a financial legacy that lives you. This is why I suggest that if you want to build wealth and create financial freedom, you link that goal to your highest values, but in a real way. Financial freedom is not about spending money, it's about building wealth. Only people who are clear about that distinction are likely to create financial freedom. Saving and investing. I very much want you to understand the reality of what it takes to build wealth. The first step is saving, followed closely by investing, and then, when your portfolio of investments is in great shape, by possibly speculating. Most people put off saving until their bills are paid, until their debts are paid. Well, I have news for you. It's almost never a more comfortable time, and yet it's always possible to start saving. Parkinson's law makes it clear that if you don't save your money or invest it into high-priority wealth-building vehicles, it will automatically become consumed by low-priority distractions and unexpected bills or wealth destroyers. I started saving in my 20s when I realized I can't sit here and fantasize about being wealthy. It's time to be strategic and tactical. I need to ask myself, what's it going to take? If I'm going to build financial stability and then financial independence, how much do I need to save and how much do I need to invest? If I want to earn enough money to both save and invest, how much people do I need to serve? How many people do I need to serve? I started calculating how much service I needed to do to get a net return of an amount that would allow me to get real about serving, saving, and investing. And that was the beginning of my business and wealth building. I had to have a big enough reason for doing it, or I wouldn't have even bothered taking action. I had to put wealth building and achieving financial freedom high enough on my list of values to really be inspired to do it. When your why is big enough, your hows take care of themselves. At the time, I was scared because I was behind on my bills. I was in my 20s and just getting started. I was a doctor. I had recently expanded my office. I was paying for a house, for a car, and for loans I'd taken out to go to school and to develop my office. Plus, I was facing a bunch of stresses in my life. And I didn't think I could afford to save at that moment. Like many people, I thought, when I get out of all my debt, then I will start saving and maybe someday begin investing. Don't live in that illusion. Impoverished people think that way. The wealthy pay themselves first, but the impoverished pay themselves last. The poor devalue themselves. When you live congruently according to your highest values, you achieve more, you value yourself more, and when you value yourself, so do others. One of the ways that you know you are valuing yourself is that you are paying yourself first. Finally, I realized that there were no real risks involved in beginning to save. Yes, there was a possibility of inflation or some lost investment opportunity, but the worst thing that I could imagine happening if I saved was that I might think I would have to pay my bills and debts during a low income period or some other worst case financial scenario or emergency. So I said, I'll just do it. I started with $10 a day, $50 a week, and $200 a month. That wasn't a lot, but I was still a bit anxious. I was overwhelmed by debt, and I was thinking, wow, it's going to take me 10 years to pay this off. I won't be able to start saving for 10 years. I felt burned and trapped in the dream of trying to get ahead in life. But somehow I managed to start saving, and at the end of the first month, I had made it. So I did another month. That worked out too. 3 months went by, and I didn't even miss the money I had saved. Even better, amazing things began to happen. An extra patient would come in. Someone would take me out to dinner. Somehow I always had the extra money. So I said, you know what? I'm getting comfortable with this. I think I can do more than $200. I think I can raise it to $300. So I did that for 3 months. Then I said, you know what? I am not missing this saved money. I attracted some more new patients and some other business opportunities are starting to appear. So I raised my savings amount to $500, then to $750, and then to $1,000. Now I started to see light at the end of the tunnel, and now some interesting opportunities started emerging. I noticed that my business was growing stronger and more stable. I calmed some of my anxiety because I started accumulating a little cash, also known as liquidity. The quality of my clients went up. The people that I associated with, now I was dealing with a higher echelon. So I started having more confidence. I started being able to say to patients that I really didn't resonate with, no, you will be more effectively served by another service provider. At the same time, I started giving my patients even greater quality of care. I was giving more and more service, and I was saving enough that I was able to begin investing. I kept increasing the amounts I saved and invested, doubling those amounts again and again, and I started watching things happen. When you manage your money wisely, you start attracting more money to manage. Then I started studying money and finances even more thoroughly. The value of money, how to manage it, how to invest it. First though, I started with savings, and that is why I advise start with savings. After you've built up a stable cushion of savings, then you can invest additional income on top of that, and then you can speculate, if you ever chose to, again on top of that. But you want to begin with some liquidity, a cushion to stabilize your primary business before you go investing and possibly gambling, which is what so many people unwisely do. They rise and crash. But I didn't handle my money that way, and I don't want you to handle yours that way either. Now, guess what else happens when you start saving and then investing the money you have generated by performing services? You create a whole new set of people you get to associate with. When you have $10 saved, you hang out with saved, you hang out with 100 Aries. When you have $1,000 saved, you hang out with 1,000 Aries. When you have $1,000 saved, you hang out with 1,000 Aries. And when you have 1 million saved, you hang out with millionaires. And so your wealth keeps building and your life circumstances keep transforming. When you have 10 million saved, you get to hang out with decamillionaires. And when you acknowledge that you have $1 billion, you hang out with other billionaires. Yes, compound interest grows as you save and wisely invest your money. But that is not the greatest. It is the associations, opportunities, and ideas that you have, the quality of clients that you start to attract, and the greatest circle of people you have the opportunity to serve. Now, most people's tendency is to start spending money as soon as they make it. They desire immediate gratification. But if all you do with your money is spend it, you make it harder and harder to ever achieve financial independence. So I insist don't raise your lifestyle unless you're willing to raise your savings or investments and taxes by equal amounts. Otherwise, burden or debt, and you're going to spend more money you spend more of your life working for money instead of having it working for you. You will be a slave to money if you have to work for it all your life. But you'll be its master if you have to start working for you. And your money won't ever start working for you until you begin to save and invest it. At first, the process will seem slow, but if you give it some time and let it build momentum, massive financial changes occur in your life. So just start. The key is not how much you save, it is the habit of saving and investing. When wealth building rises higher on your list of values, your clarity of vision and patience for its accumulation expands. This is the power of the values factor. There we go, that ends our reading for today. Powerful, profound stuff. Remember to do that little exercise. You've got 10 million now, what are you going to do with it, right? It's a good thing to know. So when the money comes, that you actually do the thing with it that's going to serve you the most empowering thing with it, right? And what we talk about at the end there is, you're going to be a slave to money. If you work with money all your life, then you're a slave for it. But if you make money work for you, then you're a master of it, And what I see is that the people that have the biggest aversions to money in the world, the people who I know come across who belittle money or whatever, or wealth, they're the ones who are a slave to it. They're a slave to money, and they're also a slave to the people who value wealth, because the people who value wealth employ them and tell them exactly what they want to do. And so then they're a slave to them, right? So it's much wiser to become a master of wealth and have money work for you rather than you work for money. Hope that makes sense, and I hope you get a shift from that, and that will make all the difference. That's all it can take. Just watching one of these trainings can make a shift in your brain and can transform your whole life. And that is my wish for you, to get that shift, to make that change, and to go from mediocrity to mastery and whatever you need to do in your life. So that's us for today. If you'd like to click on the link below, you can have a financial freedom vehicle that I do. I can't say anything better out there, so this is what I do. It's the best thing going. So click on the link below if you want to get involved with that. Or if you just want to be on my list of subscribers to receive regular updates of what's happening, then also click on the link below and just enter your email address, and then you'll be able to receive regular updates from me as well. That'd be great. Okay, thanks for watching, and I shall see you again tomorrow morning. I'll do my best to be on time tomorrow morning. Monday morning, just various things happening this morning, just didn't get here on time, but I'll do my best for tomorrow morning, so see you then. Bye.